Mia slammed the brakes. Groceries flew across the passenger seat. The rain was coming down in sheets, but that wasn't why she'd stopped. A man was lying in the street. She jumped out, heart hammering. "Sir?" No response. His clothes were soaked, his lips trembling. He looked at least 70, skin pale, beard wild, eyes glassy. A dented soup can rolled from his fingers. "Jesus," Mia muttered, dropping to her knees. Hey, can you hear me?" He opened his mouth. No words, just a rasp. People passed. No one stopped. Single moms in this neighborhood didn't have time for charity, but Mia couldn't leave him. Not when she'd promised herself her son would grow up to be better than this world. She grabbed the old man under the arm and dragged him into her beat-up SUV. As she turned the heat up full blast, he blinked. "Why?" he whispered. Mia smiled tightly. "Because someone should." He stared at her face like he was trying to remember something, but then his eyes closed again. She didn't know it yet, but she'd just saved a life that would turn her own upside down. Mia laid him gently on her worn-out couch. Her son, Ethan, peeked out from behind the staircase. "Mom, is he dead?" "No," she said quickly, brushing the man's soaked hair off his forehead. "Just tired and hungry." She grabbed a towel, then opened the fridge bare, except for a half carton of milk and a leftover casserole from 3 nights ago. She reheated it anyway. The man stirred as she fed him, shaky hands, still barely speaking. "Do you have a name?" Mia asked. He coughed, then rasped, "Peter." That was it, just Peter. No last name, no ID, just old boots, a worn jacket, and eyes that seemed to have seen too much. Mia called the clinic. They wouldn't admit him without insurance. The shelter was full. Police? Not unless he was a threat. So she tucked him into Ethan's bed. "You're letting a stranger stay here?" her neighbor Claire hissed when she found out. "He's not a threat." "You don't know that." Mia didn't answer. She just stared at Peter, sleeping like he hadn't in years. But later that night, when Ethan climbed into bed beside her, he whispered, "Mom." He talks in his sleep. He said, "Call Richard." Mia stirred her coffee, watching Peter from across the kitchen. He sat stiffly at the table, staring at the wall like he wasn't really there. She had barely slept. "Do you remember anything?" she asked gently. "Where you were going?" Peter blinked slowly. "No, but, Richard, I think I was looking for someone named Richard." Mia paused. Last night, he'd said that name in his sleep twice. "Is that your son?" she asked. He flinched. "I don't know." The way he said it sent chills down her spine. Later that day, while Peter napped, Mia ran a quick search. Richard Peter brought up a dozen results, but one stood out. Richard Lawton, CEO of Lawton Global, billionaire. Recently rumored missing from public view after a family scandal. She scrolled through photos. No way. The resemblance was distant, but not impossible. Was Peter his father? Before she could dig further, a knock slammed against the door. She opened it. 2 men in black suits stood there. "Ma'am," one said, flashing a badge. "We're looking for a man. Elderly. May go by Peter. May be confused." Inside, Peter stood, eyes wide, trembling. "No," he whispered. "Not them." Mia stepped in front of the doorway. "I don't know who you're talking about." The taller man smiled politely. "Ma'am, we believe this man may be a danger to himself, possibly mentally unstable." Peter was behind her, frozen, breath shallow. Mia glanced over her shoulder. The look in his eyes wasn't confusion. It was fear. "Sorry," she said, folding her arms. "Nobody like that here." The agent's smile twitched. "If you see him, call this number." He handed her a card, then added, "And keep your son close. Strangers can be unpredictable." The moment the door closed, Peter collapsed to the floor. "You shouldn't have done that," he gasped. "Who were they?" "They're not from any hospital. Not from the state. They're private." "Private what?" Peter looked up, eyes burning now. Private security. They work for my son. Mia's mouth dropped open. Wait, your son is? Richard? Peter nodded slowly. I left him decades ago. Thought I was protecting him. But he's powerful now. And I know something he doesn't want me to remember. Mia's heart raced. Like what? Peter's hands trembled. Something I built. Something I buried. He looked at her dead on. And now they think I told you. Peter hadn't moved from the floor. His breath was shaky, like the weight of remembering was breaking him. Mia knelt beside him. What did you build? He hesitated. Then, before Richard was CEO, Lawton Global wasn't about tech. It was military contracts. We were building surveillance prototypes, tracking systems, deep identity programs, things the government wouldn't touch. You were part of that? Mia asked. I designed it, Peter replied. Peter's hands balled into fists. But when I learned what Richard wanted to use it for, I tried to shut it down. He froze me out and erased me, called me unstable, made the world forget I existed. Mia sat back, stunned. You're telling me the CEO of Lawton Global is hunting you because you tried to stop him? Peter's face hardened. No, because I made a failsafe, a backdoor. A pulse of fear shot down her spine. Peter looked up. And if they think I told you, they won't stop. Just then, a window shattered in the living room. Mia screamed. She grabbed Ethan, shoved Peter toward the hallway. Get in the basement, now! Another crash. Footsteps outside. Peter's voice trembled. We have to run. Tonight. Mia slammed the basement door behind them, just as the front door burst open upstairs. Heavy boots pounded across the floor. She could hear furniture toppling, glass breaking. Peter clutched Ethan's hand. There's a back exit, he whispered. Through the crawl space. Why didn't you tell me? Mia hissed. Didn't think we'd need it. They crawled through dust and pipes, emerging into the backyard, soaked from the rain. No time to grab clothes or food. Just themselves and a flash drive Peter had pulled from the heel of his boot. What's that? Mia asked as they ducked behind her neighbor's hedges. Peter handed it to her. Everything. The data, the backdoor key, the reason they want me dead. From the street, an SUV sped around the corner. The same agents jumped out, flashlights cutting through the darkness. They must have tracked your phone, Peter whispered. Mia cursed under her breath, tossed the phone into a trash bin. They ran. No plan, no bags, no idea what was waiting. But Peter glanced back at her mid-stride, eyes full of something deeper than fear. Regret. I never thought helping me would put you in danger, he said. Mia didn't stop. I don't leave people behind. They reached the bus station just before dawn. Mia paid cash for 2 tickets to nowhere, shoved Ethan under a hoodie, and kept her head down. Peter sat beside her, shaking. I remember more now. They didn't just cut me out. They staged a breakdown. A press leak. Made me look unstable. Why? She asked. He pulled the hood lower over his face. Because if I warned anyone what Richard planned, no one would listen. But if you say it. Mia turned sharply. Me? You're not just some woman who helped a stranger. You're the only person I've trusted in decades. The bus rolled forward. Once they realize I've passed the drive to you, he said, they'll focus on you, not me. Mia's stomach turned. You're using me. I'm giving you the power to stop him. They rode in silence until the next stop. A woman stepped on. Sleek blazer, sharp heels, cold eyes. She scanned the aisle, paused on Mia. Then she smiled. Ma'am, she said calmly, you dropped this. She held out Mia's old phone, fully powered on. Peter went pale. Mia didn't move. Who are you? The woman's smile widened. Someone who knows your name now matters. Mia didn't take the phone. Her fingers clenched around Ethan's shoulder instead. Peter stared at the woman like she was death in heels. You're one of them. She nodded, but not like the others. People on the bus glanced up, sensing the tension. The driver pulled into the next station. The woman leaned in. You're not in control, Mia. That flash drive? It's not just tech. It's leverage. And if you use it wrong, Richard won't be the only one after you. Governments, corporations, people you've never heard of. Mia stood slowly. So what? You're warning me? No, the woman said, voice like velvet. I'm offering you something. She held out a card. No name, just a symbol, intertwined triangles. You give me the drive. I give you a new life, a job, safety for your son. And we all forget Peter Lawton ever existed. Peter's face drained of color. Mia, don't. The woman smiled again. Or you can run. Keep running. Until one of us gets sloppy. The bus hissed to a stop. The doors opened. The woman turned to walk out. You've got 24 hours. Then she was gone. Peter looked at Mia. Mia? What are you going to do? She didn't answer. They got off in a small lakeside town. Cheap motel. Fake names. Mia paced the room while Ethan slept, curled up against Peter. The card sat on the dresser. That triangle logo burned into her brain. She held the flash drive in her hand. Power. But power for what? Peter sat quietly. You don't have to carry this. Mia turned. But you gave it to me. I gave you a choice. She scoffed. Some choice. Sell you out and be safe. Or hold on and be hunted. Peter looked out the window. That's the same choice I had. Years ago. I chose silence. He turned back to her, eyes hollow. And my son became a man who builds tools to control people. Mia sat down. All I've done for years is survive, she whispered. I've scrubbed toilets, waited tables, prayed the rent clears. She looked at Ethan. I want more for him. Peter nodded. Then make that world with this. She stared at the flash drive, then picked up her phone. She didn't call the woman. She posted the data. Public, everywhere, at once. By morning, Peter Lawton's file was viral, and Richard Lawton's empire was already crumbling. The world moved fast after that. News outlets exploded. Lawton Global stock tanked. Whistleblowers came forward. Investigations launched. Politicians scrambled to distance themselves from Richard Lawton's empire. But none of them could stop the truth. The name Peter Lawton was everywhere. Not as a madman, but as a man who'd tried to stop a monster. Mia watched it all unfold from a dusty motel room, arms wrapped around Ethan. Peter sat beside them, quiet tears slipping down his cheeks. You saved me, he whispered. Mia shook her head. You saved yourself. I just didn't look away. Days later, a knock came. Same woman, same heels, but her smile, gone. We underestimated you, she said. Mia didn't flinch. That's what people like you do. The woman slid over an envelope. New identity, if you want it. Mia took it. Not for fear. For freedom. Later, they moved to a small coastal town. Quiet, safe. Ethan started school. Peter fixed up an old radio, spent mornings on the porch humming to birds. Sometimes people still ask Mia, why help him? She'd just smile. Because one small choice can turn the tide. And the tide now answered to her. The moral lesson of this story is that doing the right thing doesn't always come with comfort or safety, but one act of courage can expose injustice, shift power, and change countless lives.